We are currently waiting for practice 2 to start after it was delayed due to red flags in F2 qualifying. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but we'll just stay on the screen until it's ready. So FP2 will start in 7 minutes at 3:15, so stay tuned for that. For now, I'll just not commentate unless there's something I want to say. The only thing I would like to mention is the idea that Oscar Piastri is officially signed with McLaren for next season in 2023. With Andrea Seidel saying Piastri is something special. I think he is a perfect fit into our team, and that should be the main focus of the news. We wanted to have him on board. We're very, very happy. We are convinced about his talent. He's young and full of energy. In terms of the contract recognition board, that was never a case for us, so you'll have to speak to the other party involved as to why they had a case. It's important that we look forward to the future. So he signed for F1 to be in the driver's lineup alongside Norris for 2023. And apparently it's on a multi-year deal, so we'll have to see how he gets on in this year, and depending on how he does in this year, he will officially join McLaren for multiple years to come. Five minutes ago until practice 2 starts. Practice 2 starts in a minute and 40 seconds. Verstappen is in his car ready to go out. Whether he goes out straight away is another question. However, he's getting in his car. Norris is already sitting in his car waiting for the light to go out so they can go in to the track and do some laps. "20 seconds until the light shows." Okay, cars lining up in the pit lane. We've got an Aston Martin who is lining up in first with multiple cars behind. So we've got both Aston Martins, followed by the Alpines, followed by the two Alfa Romeos, followed by the McLaren. Okay, we have got the Mercedes out, and lap times are starting to come in with Stroll, Vettel and Ocon finishing the out lap and on at the fastest sectors, with Stroll gaining the fastest sector almost by 0.5 seconds. Fastest sector 2, see if anyone takes it off him. Nope. Stroll is still faster than his teammate Vettel, as I see Verstappen coming out of the pit lane, and I'm assuming some orange flares will come off now, and hopefully he's able to complete the session. Unlike last session, which he had a gearbox failure coming out of turn 4. Hamilton's on medium tyres complaining that the radio's not working, which is obviously a major factor because if you watched practice 1, you saw that Hamilton was quite often blocking people, but he had no idea who was behind him because on the Dutch Grand Prix circuit there's lots of blind corners where you come into the turn unknown of what's ahead of you, and obviously that's very dangerous in terms of if someone's doing a fast lap and someone's doing a slow down lap. Orange flares are currently going off on the Verstappen grandstand, but if you saw, there's a picture saying warning people not to bring flares in to the track, the circuit, but obviously no one's going to listen to that, as we see on board with Verstappen on soft tyres. The lap timings that you see are ahead of the lap timings that I see. Because I'm watching the coverage. You're watching like the leaderboard of the fastest sectors and the fastest laps, so you're ahead of me but I'm just going to watch it on the TV. See if it gets past the sector 1. Nope. George Russell has the fastest sector 1 by 0.3 seconds over Verstappen currently. Verstappen has got the fastest sector 2 with a 25.2, and it's coming into the final sector. It's the second final turn 13. But turn 14 is a flat out turn. It's just obviously around a bend. Verstappen goes first by 0.08 seconds nearly over Sainz with a 13.465 and Sainz a 13.544. It's a good first lap for Verstappen, considering in practice 2 he was the only driver to not be able to do fast laps on the soft. He only got laps on the hard tyres and ended up 19th, with Latifi being the only driver behind him. So yeah, oh god. Alonso just got blocked off massively by one of the Mercedes. No idea which one it was. It was Hamilton once again. He needs to go in and get that radio fixed. It's dangerous. Alonso now lets out the way for the Haas. We've got Alonso followed by Hamilton followed by Verstappen on the track, and we see an onboard with Alonso getting blocked off by Hamilton. Okay, the Mercedes of Russell gets out the way pretty good. The Alpine of Ocon's fine, and then Hamilton's just on the racing line. So unless he just doesn't hear a thing, he should pit. Verstappen's on the softs, however Sainz and Leclerc are both on the mediums, so if there's a gap it might be because of that. So Verstappen probably should go and will probably go faster than that. He's on a slowdown lap right now, whether or not he does long runs. However, it's quite a good lap from Sainz if Verstappen is on softs and he's on mediums. One thing I would say, which you can't see on the leaderboard, is how close the drivers are to one another. It's quite a short lap. It's a very short circuit, so all the drivers are quite bunched together. And as lots of the drivers that are on the track, it makes it very packed. And coming in turn 3, 4, lots of the drivers have to slow down because, if one of them takes it outside, one goes inside. They're actually very close, but that's one way of solving an issue if there's a slow driver and a fast lap driver. The Alfa Romeo has a bit of oversteer as he goes into turn 4. We have it on board with Hamilton. His car's pulsing quite a lot, you can hear it. He's on the medium tyres, so P6 isn't too bad considering he's on the mediums. All the top 10 drivers are on the mediums, bar Verstappen, who's on the softs, and Alonso, who is on the hards. But Ricciardo's currently in the pit lane. There's only 2 drivers currently in the pits, and it's Ricciardo and Gasly. Gasly has no time, and the only drivers on softs on the track are Verstappen and Albon. Russell is on his outlap, whilst Alonso has just pitted. Schumacher's on his outlap as well. Guan Yu Zhou, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Alonso, and Gasly are all in the pits. Carlos Sainz has just got the fastest lap time at 0.05, faster than Verstappen with a 13.4. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. I think Sainz is on the medium tyres, so it's a very good lap time. If so. Hamilton has just came out on the track, so he's on his outlap as well. So yeah, his current lap time is a 14.07, sixth, and he is 0.2 behind his teammate Russell. So it's alright so far. However, he probably wants to be finishing ahead of his teammate, as Russell so far this season has had the bit of upper hand down to mainly qualifying. He qualifies sometimes quite often better than Hamilton, and both Mercedes drivers are on the outlap, so we'll compare both these outlaps to one another. George Russell is on a very good lap, has the fastest first sector and has a personal best second sector with a 25.8 and a 25.2 in the first sector. He will probably go first if he stays on the same lines as he's on so far, and I think he's on medium tyres. Hamilton is on medium tyres. All the drivers from Stroll downwards are all in the pits, and we have Sainz, Verstappen and Norris also in the pits. Russell's just came in the pits. All the top three are within 0.053 of each other, with Sainz the fastest man out with them, Leclerc and then Verstappen. For all of them three, you have got Russell not too far off, Norris, Hamilton, Stroll, Perez, Ricciardo and Alonso making up the top 10. Behind them have Ocon, Bottas, Tsunoda, Albon, Guan Yu Zhou, Kevin Magnussen, Vettel, Latifi, Schumacher and Gasly. Gasly has not been out yet. He's still got no time, so maybe there's something wrong with the car. Maybe they just don't want to use the tyres, but whatever the case is, he is currently in P20th. Perez needs to up it a bit. Even in practice one, he was 0.9 seconds, nearly a second off Carlos Sainz's fastest lap, and they were both on the same tyres. The fuel load might be slightly different, however, I doubt that would make up 0.1 seconds, so Perez needs to step it up, but Verstappen is on softs, I think, whilst the drivers around him are on medium tyres. Gasly is currently putting his helmet on, getting ready to do a lap. The majority of the field are on medium tyres, because obviously they done soft tyre runs in FP1. However, obviously as Verstappen was out due to transmission cable issues, he's on soft running, and Verstappen is currently P3 with the two Ferraris, 1 and 2. There's only one driver currently out on track, and that is the Williams of Alex Albon. However, Gasly is soon going to be on track. A 25.3 to start off with, which is quite a good lap time by Albon, and then a 25.7 in sector 2. So we'll see sector 3. He's currently running with 8 laps under his belt. in practice 2 and is currently P14. Alex Albon jumps to P5 with that lap, and we'll have Kevin Magnussen out on track currently. Alex Albon recently has been very impressive with his runs. Obviously, last race in Spa, he got into Q3. It was the first time in his career with Williams that he got into Q3, which is very impressive. He also, I think he scored points. I think he held off a lot of drivers behind him, and finished P10. But right now we have Carlos Sainz, who has got the purple sector 1. With 25-1, which is very impressive sector, and also has the purple sector 2 with the 25 flat. See if he gets the fastest sector 3. If he does, it's going to be a very impressive lap time by Carlos Sainz. I'm assuming with how fast he's going, he's on the soft tyres. It could just be a very good lap, but probably he's on the soft tyres. He will probably go fastest by 0.451 second. Yeah, he definitely must be on the soft. That's impressive, that. So we'll probably start to see the Ferrari of Leclerc on the softs as well, and many other drivers on the soft tyres. Many drivers are coming out on track right now. The coverage on TV is not yet there this Stanford break, so it's quite hard to know exactly what is happening. All I do know is that Verstappen has gone faster personal sectors, but hasn't got the best sector so far. Carlos Sainz's first sector and second sector was a 25-2, so Verstappen is quite close to that, but his first sector is 2/10 behind Carlos Sainz, and is 0.693 behind Sainz, which is quite a big difference. Both drivers are on the soft tyres, Sainz and Verstappen. I think Leclerc is now on the softs, however, what the lap time you see, he was on the mediums. Schumacher, quite impressive there, jumps to P4. I'm assuming he's on the softs, 25-3, 25-6 and 25-5. Second sector is 6/10 slower than Carlos Sainz's fastest sector. But we now have Russell, Stroll, Perez all on the outlaps, as well as Alonso, Ocon, Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou, with Gasly still in the pit lane. So whether there's a problem with the AlphaTauri is a question that we will not know until Franz Tost answers at the end of the session. We have George Russell with the fastest sector 1 with a 24.9. Fernando Alonso jumps to P2 with a 12.8. 0.5 half a second behind Sainz, with Verstappen at 7/10 behind Sainz. Carlos Sainz is now doing a warm down lap. Russell got the fastest sector 1. However, he got a personal best of sector 2, but no total best. Russell jumps to P2 now, so we've got Sainz followed by Russell, followed by Alonso, Stroll, and then Verstappen. All the others on the softs. I think Ocon is as well. However, Leclerc is still out on the mediums. Sainz is now doing his out lap, as well as Perez. Perez is now doing his fast lap, so we'll see how Perez gets on. 25.3 first sector, 37.4 second sector, and see where he is in third sector. Roughly, Perez should be at least in the top 5 on quali day. If we take the top 2 teams, the Red Bull and the Ferrari, that's the four places like used, and then one driver probably for the Mercedes if one of them does a good lap. So Perez jumps to 15th. If he's on the softs, that's very concerning. If he's on the mediums or hards, it's fair enough to a certain extent. But yeah, now Russell is only 0.3 seconds behind Sainz, which is not very far at all, considering the Ferrari is obviously the stronger car, at least normally. Maybe not on this track, Zandvoort, because this Zandvoort is not really that used to downforce. Lando Norris is coming out to do his out lap, probably followed by a fast lap. Perez is now on soft tyres, so this is a lap that probably is necessary. So after this cool off lap, this lap is probably quite important to make a fair judgment of how Perez and Red Bull will do this race. Obviously the different fuel loads and lots of things come into place, however, is a good indication. Lewis Hamilton has a good first sector there, only 1/10 off the personal best, and solid second sector with 25.17. And jumps to P2 ahead of his teammate Russell, and only 0.07 behind Carlos Sainz, who has the fastest lap. It's an impressive lap time from Hamilton. We wait to see how Verstappen does, as well as Leclerc, because Leclerc has not yet been on softs, and Verstappen mustn't have done a good lap on soft, or was doing longer runs in softs. Gasly still has no time, while Sainz, Norris are both in the pit lane, and Verstappen is in the pit lane as well as Leclerc. Lance Stroll has a pretty impressive lap, 0.6 of Sainz, P5. However, Sebastian Vettel is P11 for 13.6, and the difference between the two is 0.7 seconds, which is a big difference, especially considering if they're on the same tyres and relatively similar fuel loads. It's a very impressive lap time from Stroll. But recently Stroll has started to get the upper hand on Vettel, especially in qualifying. With qualifying, say in Spa, Vettel just managed to get out of Q1, while Stroll managed to progress into Q2. Norris jumps to P3 with a 12.448, has the fastest sector 1, with Verstappen still P7. So the Red Bulls looking a bit out of pace from where it normally is. Second spot, vice versa. However, I'm sure the Red Bull will be able to fix their issues, change their setup slightly, and be right in there with P1, P2. Science is known as that outlap. Leclerc is currently in the pits. Mercedes looking very impressive so far this session, P3 and P5 currently. Red Bull looking a bit disappointing so far, you could say, with P8 and P12. The only thing I would say, as I said this before, Red Bull, or especially Verstappen, can quite easily just do a very good lap and be right in the mix there, P2, P3. You never know, Verstappen's one of the only drivers to be able to do that. So we'll have to see. However, it is looking very good for the Mercedes and the Ferrari so far, with Red Bull being quite a bit off the pace. But obviously, as it's a slowed down lap, it's not really going to suit the Red Bull. And it's impressive for Mercedes, considering that they normally come alive, they're normally better in the race, and if they're that close to Ferrari, it will see if they're faster than Ferrari on the race day, depending on where the Red Bulls will be involved with in between that, or above that. I think the Ferraris are now doing long runs with Leclerc and Sainz still out. Hamilton, Norris are both in the pits. Russell is out on track. Stroll, Alonso, Verstappen and Ocon are all in the pits. Ricardo is in the pits as well as Tsunoda, Perez, Schumacher, Vettel. So the only drivers on track are the Ferraris and Russell. George Russell is doing long runs with a 26.4 in the first sector. Okay, so I'm very sorry, but I'm going to have to cut it short because I need to go out. So I'll quickly go over this and I'll explain a bit more, but then I have to go. Leclerc is in first, followed by Sainz. Both Ferrari drivers are first and second. The gap between Leclerc and Sainz is only 4,000, so very close between the two drivers. Third, we have Hamilton with a 12.4, very close to the Ferrari once again. Then we have Norris. It must have been a very good lap by Norris to be P4 with 12.448. Only 1/10 off the pace of the Ferraris and Mercedes, which isn't very impressive because obviously last race the McLarens were outpaced by a lot of the midfield teams, but now, well, by the looks of it so far, at least in practice 2, they are more up there with the top of the midfield. We have we have Russell P5 with 12.65, 0.3 behind Ferrari, so good lap by him. However, Hamilton's lap is 2/10 faster than Russell's lap. In P6 we have Stroll, then we have Alonso half a second off the pace of the Leclerc. Then we have Verstappen P8 with a 13.042, 0.7 seconds behind Verstappen, behind Leclerc. Sorry for that. They are all doing long runs normally, but Verstappen has only got 11 laps compared to Leclerc's 17 and Sainz's 19. We then have Esteban Ocon with a 13.3, nearly a second behind Leclerc. Then we have Ricardo a second and more behind Leclerc, and compared to his teammate Norris, he is 0.8 seconds slower than his teammate Norris, which is obviously not the best. After that we have Tsunoda followed by Perez. Perez needs to up the pace. He's only 0.5 behind his teammate, but that is half a second. In reality, around a short lap, that is quite significant. And considering his teammate wasn't in the majority of FP1, Perez should be at least up there and very close to his teammate. However, he's quite far off. We have Schumacher followed by Vettel, followed by Guanyu, followed by Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly has only managed to do 8 laps because he was in the pits for quite a hefty chunk of this practice too. Then we have Albon, then we have Bottas, then we have Magnussen, followed by Latifi. So that is the order of that. About my next live videos, I will hopefully be able to do live watch along for qualifying, for quali. However, we'll have to see because I may or may not be busy. It's normally quite random like that. Sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I'm not. So we will see whether or not I am able to do that. Yeah, you can look at the live time until a bit longer whilst I turn off my stream. But I'm very sorry I have to cut it short. However, I have to.